Perfect. We're live. All right. So today I've got Christian Cook here. Um, he was out with us in Indianapolis last summer, and that was last summer was your third summer, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So with you being out there 3 summers, obviously you've got a pretty decent amount of experience in door to door now.
hmm
But I want you to go back to your first summer
Okay.
and think about kind of the emotions you had before going out for the summer. You know, First of all, how did you get introduced to it, and how did you feel, before you went out for your first summer?
Yeah. Absolutely. So going back, that would be my junior year of college. So I was at the University of Arkansas. It was right after the year of Corona. Reason I got into it was because David, I knew him from high school, and it was something that I was just looking for something bigger to do. That was the biggest thing for me was I was always around the people around me and I saw them kind of have this like stagnant growth and I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I was like, I need to do something and sales is probably the best way to do that because everything you're doing is selling. So going into it, I was really the person that kind of I just jumped ship, took the risk. So from the very beginning, I just tried to study as much as I could, and I'm always been like an anxious person, so I was definitely super anxious. But at the same point, studying and getting ahead of it all gave me like the confidence, I think, more than anything, to know I could do it whenever I finally got out there to do it.
Hmm. Yeah, the preparation definitely helps.
hmm
I think that's been a consistent answer from a lot of the guys is that first summer just preparing definitely helped.
Right.
Um, what were some of the concerns that you had
Um,
before your first summer?
before for I guess the best way to put it is I'm an introvert. So it's not like talking is like something that I would always, I've been like good at doing, so to speak. It's something that definitely is a skill, I think, more than anything. And like for instance, if you ask my parents like, no, you're the more what I knew it was something I wasn't good at. So yeah, I was out in Greensboro my first summer and I ended up being out there for 4 months and I did like 140 some thousand in revenue. But that's what I really gained out of it. But yeah, I knew that it was something I sucked at. I knew it was like something needed to get better at. And then that's why it ended up kind of driving me throughout the summer was, okay, I know I'm not good at this, but guess what? I'm going to work the hardest. I'm going to learn every single day. I'm going to really put everything I can into it to hopefully get the best results, which is learning how to talk to people. hmm
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. It's cool to see growth from you like that over the last couple of years. This kind of segues into the next
It's a great
question.
question. Let's
How
see
did
here.
door to door
How did it
change you
change
as a
me as a
person?
person? I think the best, like, it gave me a path. I think that's the best way to put it. It's like before I actually got into it, it's like I didn't know what I wanted to do, how I was going to do it, anything like that. But it kind of shaped this path of, oh shoot, I can work hard. I can achieve anything I want because I know I'm going to figure it out. And that's the exact same thing I think with door to door is it's such an intimidating thing, but at the same point, it's something that once you kind of figure it out, it's like, oh shoot, I have a skill that is separate from anybody else. This skill is something you can't take away from me. Now, how can I bundle this together with everything else, and how can I achieve what I wanted to achieve? Which in my personal self, or it was be an entrepreneur. That's what I want to do is be an entrepreneur, and that's what it kind of gave me that path to figure out is how do I achieve this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest things um, is that skill for you. It's going to be a lifelong thing. You'll never forget it. Um, so if you were to kind of restart your first summer, obviously you had a pretty, you had a relatively successful first summer for a rookie. 140,000 is definitely on the top end for sure for a rookie. If you were to redo your first summer, what
Yeah,
are some of the things that you might
I think probably
change
biggest
or
thing
that
that
you wish you
pops
were
into my
told
mind is
before your
emotional
first summer?
intelligence. It was something I probably didn't figure out until literally through my second summer was how to almost accept, not even as much like figure out, but accept the feelings that you're feeling around you, whether it's people being mad at you, whether it's the emotions of just kind of trudging along, keeping on going. Because I was always someone that would just keep working. It's like no matter what happens, I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep putting my nose to the grindstone. But at the same point, getting that emotional intelligence to step back for a second and really figure out what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it, so then I can get over whatever crappy emotion I'm having. Um, Along with that, I think that was probably the biggest thing I would wish I could have added to my arsenal. Because I knew all the script and everything like that, but that's what biggest thing that separates it, because that's your like mindset almost every single day. Yeah.
Hmm. So essentially, just being able to process your emotions
Mm-hmm.
better. That
Yeah.
way,
And best way is
it didn't kind
reading.
of creep up on you
Um,
and cause
yeah,
some,
I think
mental
that that's the
doubts
best way to
or
get with
anything
that.
like
Like,
that.
book that pops up on my mind is The
Okay, no,
Untethered
that's
Soul.
perfect.
That's one of the best books I find to like figure out that emotional intelligence. It's kind of taught me a bunch about it. Yeah. Mhm.
That's great. No, that's cool. Absolutely. Um, so with being in door to door for 3 years, obviously you had a good
Um,
first summer. Do you remember how much you
Ballpark
made off of
30,000
that
ish,
first summer?
30 to 40, I believe, somewhere in there.
Okay. And then after being in it
Yeah.
for three
Yeah,
years,
this third year,
did you surpass
I should be right
the
there at
six
that
figure
six
mark
figure
in
mark.
income?
That was that was overall my goal was, mhm.
How right? How does that make you feel? You're a relatively young kid, still in your early
Yeah,
20s. Um, Being able to have that, monetary success.
it
Um,
makes
how does that make you
it makes me feel
feel?
good. I enjoy financial
Only
and
being
like
in it for
biggest
three
thing for me
years.
is I've always wanted to achieve financial independence. Once I'm fully there yet, but that's like biggest goal for me. Was going out my first summer. I think whenever I actually got out there, I had $100 to my name. But because I just never I had a yeah job, but it was never anything that was more stable income throughout college. I was always, yeah, I
Hmm.
guess just very very little. I would get yeah, just living off the bare minimums. But yeah, it actually allowed me more than anything, I think, to help others. Like what I think about is like with my family, I can never like give them like Christmas gifts I wanted to. Different stuff like that allowed me to do that. Now going into it, it's like monetarily wise, it's like it just kind of has allowed me to have a little bit
Hmm.
more freedom, do what I want, go on trips, do different things like that, to where I'm not stressed every single day about money, but instead I can kind of relieve that and think about other things, the bigger things that matter. It's hitting goals that I want to achieve in life, I guess.
Hmm. Absolutely. Um, so transitioning kind of back to your first summer here, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being it was much harder than you expected, and one being it was much easier than you expected, how would you rate your
Yeah.
experience from that first summer,
I would say
just
at
from like a
times it
job
felt like a
perspective?
10, other times it felt like a 2. It's like sometimes you just, you're rolling, everything feels good. You're like, heck yeah, I can do this every single day. I'm ready to roll. I can sell anybody. And then other days, I guess it goes back to that emotional intelligence. You're just like, oh, shoot, this is the hardest thing how do I sell someone? I do not remember how to sell. So that's what I think the big difference of that job is like there's no real it's ebbs and flows, up and downs. So it's figuring out that balance between it, but at the same point, it's I guess if you scale those two together, a six. Because I felt ready to go out there,
Hmm.
so I wasn't too worried about it. But it was once you actually get into the grit of it, you get down in the trenches, and you're working hard. That's whenever those little thoughts will start creeping up on you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Donnie.
Um, that's pretty much all I had for you today. I appreciate you hopping on the call and providing some insights. One last thing, if you could leave a piece of advice or two for somebody that might be looking into doing this, they might kind of be somewhat interested, but they don't really know kind of
Mhm.
um, whether the right decision or not is to do it, and they're in college,
Yeah,
what's some
absolutely.
advice
I
that you
guess
might
starting
have
off somebody
for
that's like
someone like
looking
that, or
into
even
it,
someone
somebody
that's
that's
just
looking to
barely
do
getting
it.
started in their first summer?
I think biggest thing comes down to figuring out your goals and your why. It comes down to what you actually want to do, because you can go out there and you can be like, well, shoot, I just kind of wanted to try it out. If you're not going to fully buy into something, then most of the time you're going to fail at something. So I think that that's probably the biggest thing for someone looking into it is figuring out what you want to achieve, why you want to do it, and if this lines up with what you're actually wanting to do. Um, and then whenever it comes down to someone that's just starting it, I love this little saying, I guess the best way you can put it. But whenever the original people came over to the 13 colonies, one of their big things was they burned all their ships. They took them apart, built houses with them, tore down their ships, they burnt their ships. Main reason, it wasn't because they need the lumber. They have all this fresh land there and everything like that. It was because it's just a showing them that they can do it. It's okay. We're burning our ships. We're committing fully to this. If we fail, we fail. But at the same point, we are fully committing to this. So burn your ships, burn everything. Know you're going to commit for those 3 months and get to work. Yes, sir. Pop.
That's awesome, man. Perfect. I appreciate it. Thanks so
Of
much.
course. Thank you, Don.
I'm looking forward to talking with you soon, but I appreciate your time today. That's it. Mhm.